Oh, Clyde. That infectious smile that I saw at every CTA conference, it was great. When Jim would skip it and send Clyde. And we'd hang out. I remember those years. And this year, we're honored to have Jim Braun with us, who has been on the board at CTA, I think as long. We're the two, I'm not really on the board, but we're the two that have been there the longest now.
I think so.
I don't know whether that's good or bad, but we've taken the punishment. But I appreciate you coming and presenting the award to the family on behalf of Clyde. Come on up, Jim.
All right.
Thanks, Chris. It is a privilege to do this, and I'll try to be brief. I joined the industry in 1995 when I was hired by Jensen, and Clyde was the vice president of sales. And I guess I worked with Clyde, Jamie, Marge for 16, 17 years very closely. And I will tell you, I spent my entire career in marketing and sales of consumer goods. And without a doubt for me, Clyde was the best salesperson I had ever worked with and have ever worked with to this day. So just to back that up a little bit, when I came to Jensen, the business was, of course, Jensen was all of the categories of car audio, but the real volume came out of head units. And it was pretty quick to realize that the head unit category was pretty much dominated by these very large multinational corporations with great brands like the brands that are here today. And I could see in our sister industries of CTA, the American brands like Magnavox, Zenith, RCA, Westinghouse, General Electric, they were all going away because they couldn't compete with these large multinational players. Jensen, though, continued to thrive in that environment. And it thrived in that environment because of Clyde. Clyde had Jensen sold everywhere. And we didn't just survive, we thrived. Depending on which category you looked at, Jensen was number 1, 2, or 3 from that time through the time when Recoton acquired our company and all our time at Jensen. We were one of the first, second, or third highest market share players in the industry, mostly driven by head units and competing with these great multinational brands. And we didn't have the brand image of a Pioneer, Alpine, Kenwood, or some of the others. We certainly didn't have the money. We didn't spend nearly as much on marketing. We were a pretty small company. And yet there we were, alongside all the Goliaths for all of those years and thriving, and that was almost 100% due to Clyde. So if that wasn't enough for me as I look back at my time in this industry, so then we go and start Dual Electronics in 2003. And maybe some of you in this room, I still remember many ringing my ears, who needs another car audio brand? You guys will be here for about 6 months or maybe 12 months. I'm still here over 21 years later. But within 3 years, we had one of the top 5 brands in the country. And in 5 and 6 years, we were the number 2 or 3 seller of head units in the country, of which we remain today. And none of that was possible without Clyde. If Clyde said he was going to get something done, if he was going to make a sale, if he was going to get our product placed, he did it. Every single time. Every single time. How did he do it? Well, first, he knew his stuff. He knew our industry. He had grown up in this industry. He knew everything he needed to know. He also knew what the customers needed and what the customers wanted. So he was buttoned up all the time. But he had, and maybe his family might recognize the same characteristics, he was the most persistent guy I had ever met. If the door was locked, he'd climb through the window. If the windows were shut, he'd go down the chimney if he could. He would not take no for an answer. And he had the most unique blend of persistence and, Tony, charm. Because as much as he would ride people for what he needed or what we needed as a company, people always loved being with Clyde. And Clyde always ended up getting what we needed from a business standpoint. So it was an amazing mix of this persistence and charm. The other thing, as I think about all of this, is while I'm standing up here in front of you, Clyde never wanted the spotlight. I mean, Chris, you know, whatever, how many meetings, whether it was at CES or CTA meetings or some of the mobile electronics events or everywhere we went, Clyde never sought the spotlight. If Clyde had business to do, he was over in a corner talking to whoever he needed to talk to. And if he knew and knows or is looking down that the industry has recognized him like they have here, he would be so filled, he'd be over the moon. He'd be so humble and so full of joy. This is so deserving of a guy who spent his career and accomplished the things that he accomplished and the things that live on today, even without him. Because our company certainly wouldn't be anything or anywhere like we're today. And so the only other thing I'll say is, as I present to March, the one thing maybe you do know about Clyde is that if you were at an event in the evening, be it business or social, and you were with Clyde, he made sure you had a beverage in your hand. So with that, Marge, present this award to you, and I'm so proud to do so.
I just want to say on behalf of my children, my grandchildren, myself, I want to thank everyone who had a part in making this award possible. Clyde would have been so honored as we are and touched for this award, for this beautiful award. So thank you, everyone.
All right. Man.
I had plenty of those corner conversations at conferences as well, because while I'm an extrovert at work, I'm an introvert at a good party, and it was great to kind of hang out with Clyde at some of those events and having those corner conversations. He always made me sure I had a drink in my hand and I was comfortable, but what a great guy, as many of these are. Our next inductee is Mr. Michael Selma, and unfortunately, Michael is the oldest of the group, and had passed away some time ago, and getting in touch with all the family was not quite possible, but Mr. John Brothers brought some of his family and is going to share a little about Mike as well. And you know, all of us are here because he decided to build something to allow us to put our great products in the car and make sure they didn't fly out the window. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming up here. Like, you guys are all amazing founding fathers of the industry. You know, and as a young cat that I am, I just wanted to say thank you for that. And all these guys have inspired me throughout my lifetime. So, you know, so as far as accepting this on behalf of the Metric family, we're truly honored to accept it on behalf of the Metric family. Michael, he revolutionized the industry. He created a standardized dash kit that allows all of us